this week coming up, we've got more holidays. Canada first, Tuesday, I think, and then the US on Thursday or Friday. Depends on whereabouts in the world you are. And we've got the non-farm payroll as well. So that'll be a live session with Eusebio. You'll get the links and the invites to it being pumped out by Craig through the week.
Chris, concerning the non-farm payroll, I'm thinking to one important point. So it's the Friday, but the previous day, so the Thursday, it's the 4th of July. And the 4th of July, as you know, is the Independence Day in USA.
Yep.
And so it's an important bank holiday. And so I think many big boys in USA will be on an extended holidays, a 4-day holidays. I think it would not be very adequate to make an open house session with the non-farm payroll this month, especially because of the day the Independence Day is falling. So I don't expect any significant activity. So for me, it would be a waste of time waiting for something which will have a very small probability to happen. So, because most of the people will be worried to enjoy the Independence Day. So,
sure. I don't care about the non-farm payroll because it's so. To counter that, I don't care about the non-farm because it's been pretty poor lately. Hardly any movement out of it, but it's still good to sit with you, Eusebio. And I have no problem with that, but I will not expect a lot of movement because many big boys will be absent. So you're not killing the non-farm payroll, just warning us that there's unlikely to be much movement.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Understand. Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. No problem.
Cool. And Edward said, but what about the CAD non-farm?
Yeah, we will have also the CAD non-farm payroll. Perhaps with the CAD, we may have perhaps some movement if we have a surprise on the CAD non-farm payroll. So we will see. We will see.
So I think what that was code for was why don't you do the CAD non-farm payroll as well, Eusebio? This one here.
Yes.
So that's yes, you will do it. That's an interesting idea.
No, it is not on Wednesday the 3rd. It is on the Friday, Chris, the CAD non-farm payroll.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, you see, you have the unemployment change and the employment change and the unemployment rate on the CAD at the same time as the US non-farm payroll. And so this is the Canadian non-farm payroll.
Okay.
Yeah, this one.
Cool. Thanks, Edward, for showing me up like that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I get what you mean, Edward. Thank you. Okay.
Anyway, if there is no movement at all, we can always illustrate something with the max, so there is no problem.
Okay, cool, Eusebio. I just didn't want to miss the opportunity of killing myself all the next day by staying up till 3 a.m. Yeah. Okay, cool. So non-farm payroll is back on, not like it was in my head. And so if you have any questions, please let us know. Okay. So let's plow through the NewsWatch. There was 88 news items for this week to get through. We don't do them all. And the important thing with this, because some of you haven't done the full course yet, is the NewsWatch tells us what items to avoid when we're trading. So we'll go through and we, as in Eusebio, will go through and pull out and explain which items to watch for. I'll put them up on the website, and then I'll explain a bit more about what we should be doing around the items as well. So go, Eusebio.
Okay, let's go. So on Sunday we have, for the Aussie, I will monitor the MI inflation gauge month over month, and the bias is to be defined. And then the Chinese Caixin manufacturing PMI neutral as usual. I don't know how the specialists make their forecasts, but they are always neutral. with the Chinese data.
Yeah, it is government run. Robert, happy birthday, you Cancer. And let me see. Tell me which is an easy one. Oh, sorry. As part of today as well, I have found a little indicator which might help you go back and test entries at particular times through the day so that you can jump to them quite quickly. So I'll quickly take you through that. Anyway, so back over here.
Okay. So on Monday we have, let's see, not a lot of things. We have the Euro M3 money supply year over year, which is a major higher time frames and a bit bearish. Then, can you scroll down the calendar, Chris?
Sure. Yep. Okay, and again, because of the pound and Brexit being so jumpy, be careful when there's any pound news coming out. So, you want me to scroll down further?
No, not yet. We have to pay attention to the OPEC meetings, of course.
Okay, so I'm just going to put a care here.
Yeah, care.
Yep.
Oh, I have not seen the no, it is the final. Oh, where is it? I don't see it on the. Oh, we have the pound manufacturing PMI. Yeah, indeed, I see it. Pound manufacturing PMI at 4:30 a.m. So major and neutral.
That was lucky. Yep.
Yeah. Then we have the OPEC meeting to monitor. We have the bank holiday in Canada. And then we have also the US dollar ISM manufacturing PMI to monitor, simply monitor, and bearish. And to monitor also the yen 10-year bond auction. And this should be done for Monday.
It is.
So on Tuesday, we have a big one in red, Chris, the Aussie, the cash rate, and the Reserve Bank of Australia rate statement. So for the cash rate, major higher time frames, so major plus higher time frame, because it can influence other currencies too, and bearish. Pay extremely attention to this one. We could expect the Aussie to continue to weaken during the week. And if there is a big surprise, expect big movement on the Aussie pair. And so what do we have after that? We have the pound nationwide HPI month over month, major bullish. We have the pound construction PMI, major bullish. Monitor the OPEC meetings again. And to monitor the 10-year bond auction, and then let's see what Williams will have to say.
Okay, hang on.
So, William, did you participate in a panel discussion? Or when I see panel discussion, it's not interesting to continue to read the rest of the text. Okay. We have the CAD manufacturing PMI, major to be defined. We have the Kiwi GDT price index, major higher time frames to be defined. Why don't they give their forecast? Then we have low speaking.
I think this is because it comes in from overseas, Eusebio. It's not generated here in New Zealand.
Oh, I don't know.
It's the price of milk solids and stuff like that.
Okay, then we have the Aussie trade balance.
You don't care, do you?
No, the Aussie, low speaking. So due to speak at the Reserve Bank of Australia board dinner, not important at all. So then we have the trade balance. Do you really expect they will give some important information during a dinner? Well, Aussie trade balance, major higher time frames and bullish. And we have the cash-in services PMI to monitor and neutral as usual. And that's it for Tuesday. Wednesday. Wednesday we have let's see, where are we? I will monitor the pound services PMI, so simply monitor and neutral. Then we have broadband speaking. So due to speak to an event sponsored by the Department of Education and Her Majesty's Treasury in London, not important at all. We have the US dollar ADP non-farm employment change, so major higher time frames bullish. It is the preview of the non-farm, it is somewhat the preview of the non-farm payroll. Then we have the CAD trade balance, major higher time frames to be defined, and the US dollar trade balance, major higher time frames and bearish. Then I will monitor the US dollar ISM non-manufacturing PMI, so monitor and a bit bearish. Monitor, of course, the crude oil inventories and the natural gas storage. Then we have the we have the yen 30-year bond auction to monitor, and that's it for Wednesday.
Okay, scrolling down.
Yeah. So on Thursday, we have the Swiss CPI month-over-month major higher time frames bearish. Monitor the Spanish and French 10-year bond auction. So bank holiday in USA, so don't expect an active US session that day and the following day, because it falls during the weekend. And that's all for Thursday. And Friday we will have, so the pound Halifax HPI month-over-month major bearish. Then we have the CAD employment change and unemployment rate, so major higher time frames to be defined. We have the US dollar average hourly earnings month-over-month, major higher time frames bullish. The non-farm payroll, so bullish. The revision I don't know, and the unemployment rate, so neutral. And that's all.
Sorry, this one was the wrong spot. Revision,
yes.
F2 comes in about 2 minutes afterwards.
Edward, I don't know. I don't trade crude oil and natural gas on. I don't trade these two commodities, so I don't know what usually is a good potential move. So I have no experience for the moment on these two commodities. But indeed, sometimes crude oil may have an important movement. For example, this week, I think it was yesterday or the day before, big drop. Because there are traders who trade crude oil and natural gas and bonds. So if they have experience with these instruments, so these kind of news may be important.
Okay, so to explain why we're going through this and not picking out everything, not hitting on the reds, all the reds that are there, and making some that aren't even red important, not all the news that's given out by Forex Factory or the other items, places, and there's even this one is a smaller list than there is actually news that is pumped out around the world. Not all of it affects Forex traders, so we're purely on the Forex side of things. And the reason that we want to be aware of it is because when the news comes out, it can cause the prices a lot of volatility in the market. So we want to avoid that. We're trend followers, not news traders. So the items that we've marked monitor are ones that are interesting, perhaps for people that trade bonds, etc., or there's something coming up like the holiday that you need to be aware of. and or what else have we got? There was another monitor back here that was pretty interesting. Okay, can't find it. We also look at the Chinese, even though we don't have any Chinese currencies to trade yet, but Aussie and New Zealand can be impacted by China news coming out, because China is our biggest market, and China is becoming a world player around the place. So we need to be aware of what China is up to. If it crashes, everybody else will as well. And what else? Okay, so items that are marked major are, if there's something that's marked major, then for those trading the time frames up to the 4 hour, but not including, we recommend that you don't place any orders in the hour prior to the news coming out. And if you're in a trade, then get out of it within half an hour of it coming out. Eusebio will explain more about this once you get into the course. And this is because in the olden days, price could jump around quite a bit, and we want to protect your account, not just the profit, but the account money. And it's not good if it's jumping around. You can just have your stops hit and lose money too easily. The items that are marked H4, you have to be careful of if you're trading as well. The H4 and the daily time frames or anything above there. So if there's news coming up on those, get out of it within half an hour of the news coming out, and make sure that you don't place any orders 1 hour before. But again, this, as everything in the Forex side of things, it all depends, and it's all it's all depends on the circumstance that you're actually trading in. So if any news is coming up on, say, for instance, the US or the Euro, we don't have that much, or the Yen, then those are big players, and any major news coming up on those are likely to impact all the other pairs. So if there's, for instance, the non-farm payroll is a really good example of that. If there's a spike on that, then it's likely to make all the other pairs jump. So any news coming up on those, even if you're not in those particular currencies or trading those currencies at the time, treat them as if the news is coming up on those ones. For something like the Aussie or the Kiwi or the CAD or the Swiss smaller pairs, if there's news coming up on those and you're in a pair that doesn't contain one of those ones, then you could be a bit more circumspect and just be aware that the news is coming up. Be prepared to do something if there's a big shock, but perhaps you don't have to be so anal about getting out of the trade half an hour before it comes out. And if you're in the pound kind of straddles them both. It can be a big pair and it can be a small pair, so it depends on the news that's coming out. But these days, be really careful. I've marked care for the pound because with Brexit around, people coming up and just saying something stupid has caused it to jump 40 to 80 pips at a time. And even good news or bad news has just caused it to jump because people are so jittery. So the thing is to be really careful when the news comes out. Okay. If you have any questions, please ask. And what has it here? Dan, new people, take advantage of scrolling parties, ask questions. Okay, thanks, Dan. We want to keep helping you become good at trading the Forex. These days, it's pretty difficult. As you will see when I bring up, we still haven't finished. What we're going to do now is find out the best pairs to be trading for the week and for a particular day. So if I come over here, and I checked it this morning, this is the 28 major pairs that are around, and here are their average daily ranges in dollars. So the pound Swiss is the best mover so far at $849 average per day, Kiwi, CAD, etc., etc. So in the past we've said, okay, just pick the ones that are above 750 and look at those. But because we don't have 14 to pick from anymore, things used to move a lot better. We include a few more others that are under that 750 range. And in fact, if we look at the ranges, starting from the beginning of the year when the ranges were around about $1,300. They're now down to here. Was $800 last week. Was the best mover. Bumped up a little bit. We'll just have to see if that keeps continuing. But the ranges are miserable. Even back here at the beginning of the year, I was complaining that the ranges were really tight. They were half to a third of what they were 2 or 3 years ago, and now they're half that again. So it's you have to be really careful when you're getting into a trade, and it's all. I'm treating these things like almost like scalping now. Sometimes there's nice movements, but if there's not, you have to be ready to pull the trigger really quickly so that you don't just sit there getting slammed. And something I'm finding also is it's necessary to maybe Eusebio wants to say more about this, but to drop the amount that you actually your position size. So I'm using a quarter and a third of a % for my position sizing when I get in, just to make sure that the price is moving in my direction properly, without sort of going in at full bore and suddenly having it slammed back against me. Okay, to Dan, how many complimentary ice creams? Okay. Sorry, Robert, don't quite know that one, but anyway, okay. So I'll put these up on our website, and the website looks like this. Where is it? Give me a website. Hope this is the right one. Okay. The website looks like this, and I'll distill the news down so it looks like this. So we've got majors and monitors, and these ones here I didn't mention in red are ones that Eusebio will stay up for and wait to see how the movements come out, because they're likely to be nice money makers in the past. Thanks, guys. And I have a disclaimer. I'm home alone, and I'm looking after Oscar, and I can hear him yelling in the background, so I might have to go and put him back to bed. He gets a bit distraught. He's got a bit of dementia. Okay. And when you hear him, you'll know that he's distraught. Okay, so that's the news. Here's the top 10 pairs when it's whittled down. So I tend to just pull out the best movers and have a few stragglers hanging on at the back of it. And we also have another list for each particular day. So we recommend these two to trade with, and maybe jump down to the second choice if you don't see much movement coming out of these on a particular day. Okay, and now we're going to decide which of these pairs are going to be used. So I'm going to pull out, so I think I pulled out about 11 Eusebio and put it over. So does that give you enough Euro pairs to play with? I think so. Okay, I can't hear you, Eusebio, if you're trying to talk. Okay, am I broadcasting? Yes, I am. Maybe Eusebio is to come to the heat in France. They're undergoing a heat wave over there. Oh, right, Eusebio, 15 minutes.
Okay. No, I'm back.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I'm just... Oh, that's Edward. Eusebio will be back in 1 minute. Okay, so let's go through and match up the pairs. I pulled all the ones that are above $600 now, which includes some Euro for us to work with. So Eusebio will now do a magic trick and match the best moving pair with the particular news for a day, so that we get a pair per day, or some pairs per day to trade. Okay, go Eusebio.
Okay, so we will include the pairs from the pound Swiss to the euro kiwi. The other ones are less worthwhile. So.
Okay, right.
And after that, I would like to make a comment about the monitor news, especially the crude oil, bonds auction, and natural gas, but after that, because it may be important also for forex traders.
Okay.
So let's start. So on Monday.
Hang on, let me try. Oh, stuff it. Doesn't matter. Right, Monday. We have nothing from Sunday, so we're looking for majors. And there's a major on Monday on the euro and
On
another
the
major on the pound.
Euro and the pound. Pound.
And no other news, no other major news on Monday.
Okay, so for the first pair, we will consider the pound Swiss.
Done. Yep.
Then the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie.
Yep.
And then, what is the news on the euro again? Oh, the information supply. Rare surprise. So let's take the pound card.
Okay. Okay, so these ones you'd be monitoring per day. This is so that you don't get overwhelmed with all the pairs to watch for. And we're only picking the best ones that move, the ones that move the best. Otherwise, it's a waste of time looking at some of these things. If I jump over here, just to give you an idea, if you're trading the Aussie CAD, it moves 40 pips per day, 50 pips tops on average, and has squeezes $300 out of it in that whole range. So why mess around with trying to squeeze money out of something like this when there's possibly more money to be made, 3 times as much per day with these ones? However, I'm beginning to think more differently about that as well. But anyway, that's the thinking behind this. Next day, Eusebio, Tuesday.
Yeah. Just simply for Monday, we can add for the US session the pound US dollar. So for the US session, or it is indicated just below the list. Okay.
Okay. I know we've got this, Eusebio, but I hadn't. Okay, let's put it in here. What an idea I came up with was which pairs would be best suited per session, and so this is about as good as I'm getting, I think.
Anthony, these informations are available on our website for free. There is no need to use the spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet are just used by Chris to publish the information on the website. Okay, on Tuesday.
Okay, Tuesday. Hang on, we'll unmute, we'll plow through this. Sorry, it's a bit messy. Okay, nothing left from Monday. And on Tuesday we have the Aussie.
We have the Aussie, yes.
The pound.
Then we have the pound, yeah.
And the CAD.
We have the CAD, okay. And we have the Kiwi. Let's add the Kiwi.
Okay.
So, Kiwi. And I will keep the Kiwi also for Wednesday.
Sure.
Okay, so we have here the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie as the first choice. Then we will have the pound CAD. And then we can take in this case, I will consider the Euro Kiwi. And for the US session, we can add the pound US dollar again.
Okay. Okay, this is, like I said, it's US. This is new, so I don't quite know how to put this up on the spreadsheet so it makes sense without being as messy as it is already. I think the Aussie came out on the same day, Eusebio.
Yeah, indeed.
Aussie trade balance. So we could do Euro Aussie.
No, we don't have the Euro Aussie on the list, but we have the pound Aussie.
Euro Aussie. 560. Okay, yeah, it doesn't move as much, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So Wednesday.
okay, we've got the Kiwi
Yes.
and the Aussie
So we have the OZ here, okay.
and the US,
We have the US, okay.
CAD,
And we have the CAD, okay.
c'est tout.
And that's all. So we will have again the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie. Then we will have the pound CAD. And we can have the pound US dollar or US dollar Swiss. Ah, interesting. US dollar Swiss.
Pound dollar or okay, that's new. And okay,
Thursday.
thanks. So nothing left over from Wednesday.
Yeah.
The Swiss
We have the Swiss, okay.
and
And that's all.
yeah.
So we will have the pound Swiss. Let's take the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie.
Yep.
Then let's consider the pound CAD, or let's add also the US dollar Swiss.
Okay. All right. Strange one.
Yep. And for Friday,
nothing from Thursday. So we've got
we have the
nothing from
pound.
Thursday and the CAD and the US.
Sorry, the CAD and the US here. Okay, and that's all. Yeah. So we will have the pound CAD.
Yep.
Let's add the pound US dollar, indeed,
To what?
on the second day, on the second pair. So yeah,
Okay.
second line. So the pound US dollar,
Yep.
and then we can add the pound Swiss.
Okay.
And that's all.
Okay. Okay, so excuse me. So just to reiterate, we've got all these pairs to monitor through the week, and what Eusebio has done is match them up with the particular news for a day, so you've got a better idea on which pairs to look at on a daily basis. And I'll just delete this line down here. And I've marked US for possible US session trades. But ideally what you should be doing is, if you're in a particular session, then pick a pair that's got currencies from that particular session. So during the London session, you'd pick things that have got the pound or the euro in them. During the US session, you'd pick things that have got the CAD or the US session. And during the Asian, it would be the Kiwi or the Aussie or the yen. It's another. So you also have to match these up with the time periods that you're trading. Okay, so questions. Are these spreadsheets available? Just so that you know, Anthony, they're available. The list of the pairs, I think I told you last week, pay attention, are available from here, from METAF. And so I just type in 4 for the number of weeks that I want to look back, do a search, and it brings a list of Come on. It brings back the list, and I copy the list, pull out all the exotics, so that we're left with just 28 majors left over. Why is this not working? Come on. Okay, and you can sort them directly from the screen here. So just to check that the, what was it? The top pair is the pound Swiss is still valid at 8.49. I come over here, and the pound Swiss down here still runs in at 8.49 average. So I did calculated this yesterday, and it hasn't changed. So this is the valid list. Sometimes it changes over 1 or 2 days. So for the beginning of the week it is. So that's where I get that from. And this one here is just a straight copy out of, if I can pick it up, this one is a straight copy out of Forex Factory. That's what we're doing. And okay, one more. The spreadsheets themselves aren't, but like I said, I do post them up here. So you can just copy them straight off if you want. And there's the news list. Okay, and they're available. Really recommend that you do this from here. It cuts down, it'll save you walking into news times. I did know one trader who kept complaining that the brokers were spiking him, but he was completely ignoring the news and trading through the news, and just kept getting wiped out whenever he placed an order, and then the next few minutes later a news came out and prices spiked, and he lost or gained a little bit. Okay, and what else have we got? Yep, we know about 4th of July, and I keep getting advice in both directions relative to correlations of okay, it's a question to Craig here. I keep getting advice in both directions relative to correlations of bonds and commodities relative to forex currencies.
Yeah, let me comment on this, Chris, because this is an important point. First of all, Anthony, we know that the 4th of July is the Independence Day, so it's an important bank holiday in US dollar. This is why I have explained that I don't expect a bit of movement Thursday and even Friday for the non-farm payroll, because it will be an extended weekend in USA. And this is why I have included the US dollar Swiss for the European session. So, okay, because the European session will be traded, of course. Now, concerning the correlations with bonds and commodities, Robert, we always mention as monitor instruments like the bond auction, like natural gas, like crude oil, because and we should also pay attention to gold. We should pay also attention to the VIX, which indicate the volatility in the US stock markets, and which is a good indicator of fear or not. And so, just to have an idea if the markets are risk on or risk off. Now, if you consider only the correlation between, for example, the forex and the bonds and the commodities, you will be sometimes completely misled, because it's not enough to have a correlation or an absence of correlation. For example, let's suppose the price of oil, crude oil, is increasing. What does this mean? It may be an indication that inflation is increasing. And so to have the confirmation that inflation is increasing, you have to check, for example, if the yields for the bond market are also increasing. But it may happen that the yields will not increase. And so what does it mean, the price of crude oil increasing? Perhaps it is, the price of crude oil is increasing simply because we have a temporary crisis in some area of the world, like we have for the moment in Middle East, with that escalation between USA and Iran. So similarly, if you have the VIX index increasing Does it mean that the market is necessarily risk-off? Not necessarily, because it depends on the level of volatility. There are some threshold level we have to consider. And so the relationship between all these markets are not so simple, and using correlation is not enough to understand what is happening. So you have always to interpret what is happening and why we are seeing these movements in the different market we are observing, we are following, and what will be the impact in the market we will trade. So it's not so simple. Following the correlation is far from being enough. Okay? If you do that, you will be very, very often misleaded, and you will often wonder, but why do I see such a correlation and the market does not react as the correlation are showing? So it's really, really a complex subject. So I hope to come out with a simple approach after holiday summer. So after August, I will try to establish perhaps a specific session, a specific course, or a mini course about some of the aspects of this subject. So.
Okay. Let me see. If anybody wants to be unmuted, happy to do so you can ask questions directly in. And sorry, Robert, the question you asked was huge. It's like an iceberg.
Yeah, it's a huge question, but it's the deep heart of the financial markets. And so understanding the subject deeply helps to understand why the markets are moving in specific direction at any moment, not only in the higher time frame, but also in the small time frames. Because what is true in the daily or the weekly time frame is also true in intraday time frames.
Okay. And like I said, if anybody wants to be unmuted, let us know. We can speak directly in. Other questions that have come up. So I'm just going to save this now so that we don't destroy all the hard work. It should be up in about another 6 hours once this session is finished. No. Did that save? File. Let's do it again.
Yeah, and as a general comment, this is why, for example, reading some books on specific subject, I know that one of you has mentioned, for example, the art of currency trading. It's okay to have a general culture, but it's far from being enough to understand the details in the different markets. So far from that. But it's just an eye-opening. It's just one way to have some ideas to go deeper in some subject, knowing that these subjects are really complex.